Hi, this is Mark Christensen with BIDimensions.com. Today I'd like to talk about the merge join. This is a way that we can bring two sets of data together based on a single key that they both share. Let's start off by looking at the data. We have some data on the left and data on the right. Now when you're doing joins, we refer to left and right. So we're going to set up to have our left information be a bunch of names and the zip codes associated with them. On the right hand side, we have cities and the zip code for the cities. And what we're going to do is we're going to explore different ways of bringing these two pieces of information together based on the zip code. The first one I want to talk about is the inner join. I can see by the Venn diagram that we end up with just having data that is in both sets. So let's take a look at this here. We have Nancy with a zip code of 12345, but over here on the right hand side we do not have any zip codes with cities that have 12345. So if you look at our results down here at the bottom, we don't have any zip codes that show up with 12345 because none of the entries, because we didn't have any situations where 12345 for the zip code was in the left and the right pieces of data. You will notice, however, that we bring together Fred on 55021, and over here we have Faribault at 55021, and that shows up down here with Fred 55021, and Faribault is associated with that. And we also have a duplicate copy of the zip code that was brought in here. Now, let's look at the zip code 55118. You'll notice here we have 551218 where for Wilma, that's associated with West St. Paul, 55128. You can see that right here. But we also have Will with a zip code of 55118, pardon me, that is also associated with West St. Paul, and that shows up down here. So both of those tie together to West St. Paul. Now, Tom is in 55125, and you'll know St. Paul is 55125, so he gets an entry here. But you'll also notice that Woodbury is at 55125, so there's also an entry for Woodbury. I guess that was the first one here, Woodbury, and then Tom with St. Paul, 55125, shows up again. So we're merging them all together. If we have two entries in one, we'll end up with two entries down here at the bottom. And Mary is at 55244, and the only place that shows up is for Minneapolis at 55244, and that shows up down here. So the merge join comes together and merges only information that is in the left and the right tables. Let's go ahead and look at the left outer join. Now the left outer join will take all of the information on the left hand side, which is the names, and try to match it up with the right hand side information. So you will get essentially the exact table on the left that's just been extended by the data on the right. So if we look here at Nancy in 12345, it tries to match that to the information on the right. However, there is nothing for a zip code of 12345. So if you look down here in the results, you'll notice we try to merge it, but we have nulls that show up, which means that there's nothing to match it to. If we look at Fred from 55021, that will use Faribault. And so it shows up down here with Fred with Faribault, 55021. Likewise, Wilma and Will show up down here. They're both 55128, and they're matched to West St. Paul, 55128. But now things get a little interesting with Tom, because here we have Tom at 55125, but we have two pieces of information on the right side that have the zip code of 55125. So both of those get brought in for Tom for 55125, both for Woodbury and St. Paul. And lastly, we have Mary, who is 55244, and that maps to Minneapolis. So for the left outer join, we take all of the information on the left table and match it to items in the right table. If there's more than one match in the right table, you get duplicates like we saw here with Tom. There's also the right outer join, which is basically the same thing as the left outer join, except we're starting with the information on the right instead of the left. So we'll take this entire list here that's on the right of cities with zip codes and match those up to the names on the left-hand side. So we start here, and we start with Faribault, and we look and see if there's any 55021s on the left-hand side, and sure enough, we've got Fred here, and so we then match Fred up with Faribault. We have West St. Paul next at 55118, so we place that down here, and you'll notice that we have two people that are in 55118, Wilma and Will, so both of those get entries. And keep going, we have Woodbury, and we show up Woodbury with 55125 down here. That matches to Tom, who's in 55125. We also have St. Paul that has 55125, and that shows up down here. Mary, which is, she's matched in there because Minneapolis is her zip code, 55244, which matches to that. But now look at here, we have Young America here popping up, and down here we have Young America, but there is nobody that has a zip code of 55555. So we end up with nulls in the table for the name. Now let's look at our last example. We have the full outer join, and this kind of takes both ways. It takes the left and the right and brings joins together. And so you'll see here for Nancy, we do the left join with Nancy, but there's nobody on the right side for Nancy, so we end up with nulls. Again, we have Fred in 55021 that we match up with Faribault. When we do the left join, both Wilma and Will here, Wilma and Will match up to West St. Paul, 55118. Now if we look at Tom here, you'll see that he shows up twice, and he's showing up twice because we have both Woodbury and St. Paul that match to 55125. We also have Mary in Minneapolis, which is just a straight match. But because the full join does the right and the left, we also get Young America thrown in there. And Young America, because there are no people in Young America, we end up with nulls for the name and the zip code. So that's just a little bit of information about left and right joins and inner and outer joins. I hope that was helpful. If you have any other questions, please go to bidimensions.com and leave me a message. Thank you much. Thanks for your time and attention.